Hello, hello. Is this thing on? Is anyone listening? I'd like to confirm that this is working before I go further because this is my very first live stream. Welcome to the Ham2K Portable Logger February release live stream, where we're going to be talking about what's new in the app and maybe we'll do some demos. And yeah, I can hear myself in the YouTube window over here, so that means things are working. And thank you, WC9B, for keeping me company here and joining me on this very first live stream. Oh, and Steve out of Canada. Good day. That's fun to see you guys here. I was afraid I was going to have to do this alone. And the goal here is to have some videos I can clip and use to put on the manual and on the social medias for show people how to use some of the features. Sometimes it's easier to show than to write and describe the steps on how to do it. Look at that. Dan the man has joined too. Welcome to the stream. You're a pro doing this. I hope I don't disappoint. But let's see how this works when trying to demo on a phone how PoLo works. I wanted to do a quick demo. You all here in the audience have done it before, but I want to show people what it's like to use PoLo for the very first time and what it takes to do your first Parks on the Air activation. You start by putting your call sign and agreeing to the terms. And the first thing PoLo wants you to do is to download the park data. It takes a little bit. We don't want to do it all the time because if you're in the middle of an operation, that can be disruptive. But as you can see, it's not even 20 seconds. And once you've downloaded that, the first thing I do recommend is going to the settings and entering here your QRZ account information. It's important to put your login, not your email. That's a problem we've seen in the past. We'll see how well it works now. And here you go. You have click on new operation. You have your details. You add an activity, Parks on the Air. It'll ask access for your location, say while using the app. And these are the parks near me right now. Say I want to activate Painter Hill multiple use area. I just tap here. It gets added. And I have my activation. I come here, go to the QSOs and start logging people. Let's see, we get W for Dan. You get POTA royalty. PoLo will show you these little messages and certain call signs. And you can press space to jump through the fields. You don't have to enter anything else. It got Georgia from Dan's QRZ information. I press enter and it gets logged in. And man, I should not have added this. The development version is getting errors. Ha 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 ha. Fun times. This is not a good demo. Let me see if I can fix that quickly and restart the demo. This is what you get for demoing things live. Let's see. What's the error we're getting? If I type another call sign, B1SK, and the error is in offsetting step 68. I hope you guys are having fun watching this. Now it's reloaded. Let's see if we add WC9B. No error now. So let's do something here. You're not looking. Let's delete everything and start anew. Let me start with everything from scratch. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Let's go. So this is the experience you get when you first install PoLo. The app starts usually with a nice photo. We'll ask you for your call sign. And it asks which are your favorite activities. There are more in settings, but let's keep it with POTA. if you want to share your usage data with us and with the public, let's keep it at the defaults. The very first thing PoLo will do is ask you to put your QRZ information, because this will help you do lookups for names. So with that out of the way, let's start a new operation. We click on new operation, add activity, and parks on the air. It will try to find nearby parks. Man, live demos suck. Ha ha ha. I hope you guys are having fun out there. Why isn't this showing me my parks nearby? This is not what I wanted to do today. Let's start from scratch. It'll take a couple of minutes to do this. Anyways, how are you guys? Any of you want to join the stream? Raise your hand and I'll send you an invite, because he'll help me keep this going while I recompile PoLo to install from scratch on the phone. In the meantime, cheers. Yeah, nearby parks usually works great, but the phone in developer mode might have had some problems with the fake GPS. And I want to do this first operation from scratch to then show you the new feature that we called operation templates. That's really exciting. Let's see if this finishes compiling, installs it in the phone. Let's hope it doesn't install it in the other phone. Yeah, here we go. So let me close this and start. Okay, let's go one more time. Let's see if this time it works. So this is the experience when you first install PoLo. You open the app, you get a nice welcome screen, and it will ask you for your call sign. It'll ask you other activities you're interested in, and let's just get into the app. The very first thing, it asks you to download the POTA data. It does this so you can do access offline to search all the maps. There's also usually updates that can happen live. Let's skip this one. And the only other thing I suggest doing is going into the settings and entering your QRZ account information. Enter your login, not your email, just your call sign and your password. And let's go back to the home screen. From here, all you need to do is click on new operation, and then you add an activity. The phone will ask you if you want to share your location. You probably want to do that because it helps find the parks nearby. This is based on the famous yellow dots from the POTA map. The boundaries might not be exact, but it will show you the nearby parks. Let's say I want to activate Painter Hill multiple use area. I tap on the plus, I get my park, and I click on QSOS to get started. So I'll start logging people. Let's get Bo, which is part of a Ham2K test crew. This information here is stored inside of PoLo. You press space to jump through fields. You don't have to enter Virginia because it came from QRZ. All you need to do is press enter or the send key on your phone keyboard, and it gets logged. We'll get someone else, Steve. If I type his call sign correctly, I can enter a different report, press enter, logged. We'll get W4 Dan. By the way, you can click here and go to his YouTube channel and click over here to come back to PoLo. You should not be watching videos in the middle of an operation, but you can. Now let's say that Dan is at a park. I can scroll here where I have more controls, and I get P2P, and I enter the park number. He's telling me it's in 1, 2, 3, 4. I got the park, I send, and it's saved with this little tree icon to tell me he's at a park. I can, let's say my operation is done. I can go here, click on Manage Operation Logs, and I have the ADIF file to export for POTA. I click here, and the phone will ask me to save to files. I save the file, and that's it. I'm done. My first operation is complete. Now, I also want to show you how I do an operation much more efficiently. One of the new features is that what I said earlier is the operation templates. And now whenever you do a new operation, it will look at the previous operations to suggest templates. It noticed that my previous operation was SKI2D with POTA. If I tap here, it'll pick this. It will even pick the nearest park for POTA automatically. So one tap and I have everything I need to start my operation. Next thing I didn't show earlier, but I want to show it now is I want to spot myself. Let's say that I'm going to be in 40 meters. I can click here and change the band to 40, or I can type 40M here and that'll change the band. If I want to change to CW, I can type CW, or I can do it over here. If I type a frequency, I can type 7200, or I can type 7.200. It'll doesn't matter. PoLo recognizes that you mean to go on 7.2 megahertz. And if I press enter, it'll go there. And it will even change the mode because it knows that 7200 is, according to the band plan for the US, a phone frequency. Having done that, I now have a frequency and I now have my park and everything. I can spot myself. If I were to enter a comment here, testing, oops. Let me enter it with the keyword here. Because, yay, live bugs. I'll edit this out. But if I press spot, it will send a spot to the POTA website automatically. There's a better way to do that. And that is, I can here just type QRV. It'll tell me what it wants to do here. And if I press enter, that's the same as if I had pressed spot in this button. There's also more controls here. If you want to see, for example, for power and for notes, this way you can get them quickly. If you have a big screen, you can press this arrow to open the controls, make them more accessible. If you have a cramped screen, for example, if you have a keyboard open like this in a phone, you might want to close them to get a little bit of screen real estate. Having done that, I can, again, type here, I'm working WD4 Dan, and I'll get him in my log. One of the things that you get with PoLo is that your activities don't have, you can have more than one park, according to Parks on the Air. It's up to you to figure out if the parks have a boundary that's common and all of that, but you would get 2 parks that you're activating. When that happens, it will generate 2 separate files, one for each park, that will let you upload to the POTA website accordingly to the rules. You also get a separate ADIF export that has all the information combined, say if you want to keep it for your records or upload it to qrz.com. You can also watch here in the map the contacts I've met, only Dan right now. And you get here the spots from the POTA website. You can look to see who else is operating around. There's some settings. You can sort it by spot time, by frequency. You can exclude other continents. If you know you're not making it to Asia, you can exclude Asia to get fewer entries, limit by age, and so on. One feature I like to do is pick automatic band and automatic mode, which will show me the spots based on the mode and band I'm at right now. If I go spots here, it'll show me who else is in 40 meters phone. If I change bands to 20 meters, the spots will show me who's in 20 meters. And it will even show me, oh, look, WW8L, Tim, Ham2K supporter, thanks for your contributions. The next thing I would like to show is, if you go on settings, you can enable more features. Say you want to do summits on the air. It will download the data. It will also let you, summits on the air is a little bit more slow to load because the data set is bigger. It includes every single summit in the entire world. You can also download the settings for worldwide flora and fauna and activate both Parks on the Air and WWFF at the same time. You can activate field day, winter field day. We're coming up with QSO parties, sample contest. And there's even more activities here like bunkers on the air, castles, global mountain activities, silos on the air in Australia, Belgium, and English, lighthouses and castles, etc. We'll be adding more activities as soon as we have people who bring us the data and the needs for those activities. Now that I have enabled summits on the air, let's say that this operation was also a summit. I can add here the nearest summit, activate, and I have my activation. And if I try to export the logs, I will get one export for SOTA, along with this exports for POTA and ADIF. There are subtle differences between the exports. For example, the SOTA export will include signal reports in the comments, since that seems to be a common practice in the SOTA world. The POTA exports only include the bare minimum data needed for a POTA import on the website. And with this, if I go back and click new operation, I now have two templates, myself with POTA or myself with POTA and SOTA. Again, if I click here, it'll start right away with the nearest reference for POTA and SOTA based on that template it used. You can also, let's say that I want to operate as a station. The Ham2K Radio Club, we have our own call sign, and it'll be the station with the operator. And again, if I were to start a new operation, that's now a template. That lets me start that very quickly. And PoLo lets you enter lots of commas in places you would never expect to enter a comma. Let's say I'm operating at a park with Dan. I can enter both our call signs here. And now I'm operating with two people. We're going to be keeping a single log. We work Bo, and I pass the microphone to Dan, and he says, stand by for a second, operator. He gets the contact, and we're good. We can go on the spots and find somebody to work. Just tap here, and it'll bring the person, and it'll bring their park reference. Where did my park references go? Oh, this is not a POTA operation. Let me make this a POTA. So we have a POTA, and now we have our park to park. And this reference came from the spots. And now if I want to export my logs, I have the POTA for KI2D and the POTA for Dan. It'll generate the two files with those QSOs in it. You can also, let's say that we are working park to park, and we get Bo. We already have Bo in the call. Let's put my friend John, who says that he is at a park. So I go and put him in the parks. And he says, stand by for a second, operator. I just put a comma here, and I add whoever is working with him, Patrick Smith. If I press send, it'll add the two contacts immediately there. I can even tap on some existing call and enter a second call here. I know who Peter Doherty is, but thanks for working us. And we'll copy everything from that contact up here. If PoLo finds, there doesn't seem to be any right now, but if PoLo finds somebody who's operating with someone else because they have spotted with the same park reference and frequency, they will be shown here with commas. So if you tap, it'll grab the two operators in one click. And I think that's a good quick summary of how this works. I don't know if the audience has any questions. There's a lot of written comments if you go here, read the fine manual, it'll open the PoLo manual. And in the PoLo features section, there's lots of information about those commands and the things you can do to make it more efficient, including developer mode. The tips and tricks, I believe, is where we have a lot of the commands you can enter. You can change your power using that. You can change frequencies by just putting the decimals. If you're just moving around in the band, you can change the QSO times if you're entering them manually. You can enter QRV, QSY, or QRT to send spots. You can change operators if you're doing, say, a club operation and you're switching operators. It will keep track of that. And finally, the last thing I wanted to show is this bar here that says today 5 QSOs. It'll show you a summary of your operation. In this case, it'll show me that I have 5 out of 10 required POTA contacts, so I have yet to activate the park. I have worked 5 different states, so it'll show them scratched here. If I work some DX, it'll include that. If I work some Canadian provinces, it will include that. If I'm working another activity like field day, it will show information for field day. Bo asks, what's the idea of the use for the operation details submenu? Operation details submenu, will this be it? This is one of the menus that lets you customize some things here, including showing or not showing a state field. PoLo includes a number row. If you're using a phone, the keyboard, I can enable or disable that number row, etc. There will be more options coming there in the future. But I don't know if that's what Bo was asking around about. If you have a lot of operations, like I have 4, so when you do new operation, the templates will show the first 3 here. It'll show the most recent up front, and then the most commonly used following that, and then any other operations. But if you have a lot, you can always go down your operation list, find the one you want, and tap on the use as new template to start an operation based on this operation. Bo asks about operation details. This screen here, it lets you enter a given title for your operation. And notes if you want to say anything. Not old, cold, and damp. And that's information that will be saved. It'll show here the title, and the experts will include that information. We might add more there in the future if our users have any needs for that. Let's see what else do we added. Very important. One of the new features is that we now show that you have donated money to Ham2K. You're a supporter, and if you want, you can click here, and it will show you. In this case, it doesn't work because this is a development environment. It'll let you contribute $5, $15, or whatever you want to donate, and it'll give you a little badge that shows your support for 2025. That's one of the biggest changes in February. Now, let me see if I can switch this. Where did my controls go? Let's see. I stop sharing the window, and let me see if I can get a different phone that has the latest development version. I've been working in some things for the last week while I was waiting for the Apple to approve the versions and all of that. Let's see if I can get this to work. I wasn't expecting to do this, but why not? The yeah, I think that this live streams, I need somebody else to help the flow going while I move things around like this. Let's see if I can get this to run. Come on. Is it loading? Yes. Let me share my other phone here. This one has a lot of other things. One of the things that's coming is support for, oops, wrong fork of the code. Let me, it didn't work. Little sneak peek there. Not going to point out. Here's one of the things that's coming. Login settings, export settings. This will let you, people have very strong preferences of how they want their log file names to look. Some people want them with spaces, with the date first. If you want to change that, you can now edit these templates and put the date at the end of the file, the prefix and the reference of the park you're in, and put the date here. And now you have this file format if that's the thing you want to use. It'll let you edit things like the ADIF notes. If some people want to have the QSL message attribute in an ADIF be a list of all the references they're doing, et cetera, et cetera. And you can do this for the global settings and for each type of activation you have enabled on your phone. In this phone, I only have POTA right now, so it only shows POTA. If I go in the settings for app features and enable summits on the air, let's not get the data, Flora and bunkers on the air, then if I go to my export settings, now I get each one of them. I can modify how I want them to look, or I can use the defaults, or I can extend the defaults, etc., etc. That will let people pick whatever their favorite format is and apply it to every single one of their operations. I hope that's people find that useful. The other thing I've been working on, let me see if I can get that to load here. I might have to restart this. Let's see. Okay, no, didn't work. Reload. Let's see. It's fun to see those developer errors, isn't it? Okay. No. I'll get it up and running in a second. The wonders of a live video. Thankfully, I'll be able to cut some clips out of this that don't include the error messages. Let's reload the app. Okay. I don't want to download any of that. Here is support for QSO parties. It will let you do, right now, we have information about the first 5 QSO parties in the year. It'll show you the ones that are upcoming. Unlike other logger apps that will show you a menu with 50 options, probably not even sorted. We know that we're 5 days away from the South Carolina QSO party. So why not put that up front? So I can run on the South Carolina QSO parties from New York as out of state, for example. Or I can say work the North Carolina from Durham County. And one of the nice things about it is it will give you scoring according to the rules of that QSO party, including bonus stations, for example, on the QSO parties that have that feature. It'll give you a checklist of counties to look for. It will, as you enter people, it'll say Georgia, and it'll show in green because it's a new multiplier for me. Let's say that Dan is in North Carolina, and he's telling me that he's working out of I don't know. North Carolina has 100 counties. Let me take a look at the names here, see if one rings a bell. There was one PQ that sometimes over the year people will tell you it's Perkimans, but you don't know if you start typing the full name, and PoLo will do a lookup of the county names, and if you press space, it'll correct to Perk, and I'll get my multiplier indicator. If I work any of the special stations, it'll give me an indicator for that too. And again, as usual, manage operation logs. It'll export a Cabrillo file for that QSO party. This is still incomplete. There's a few bugs, as you saw as I was clicking around, but I hope to have it ready for the North Carolina and South Carolina QSO parties this upcoming weekend, so a couple of testers can give it a spin. And we plan to have all the QSO parties for March coming up and throughout the year. So ideally, we'll have every single QSO party for the US and Canada available through a single menu. And right now, you have to pick which one you want to participate in. But the goal down the line is that to let you run on multiple QSO parties on the same weekend. And PoLo will figure out which counties you're entering, and based on that, figure out what state that log should go to. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges we have. But that's something I've always wanted to be able to do ever since I tried to participate in 2 QSO parties on the same weekend and tried to do it with normal loggers, and that was so painful that I decided I wanted PoLo to support multiple QSO parties. Just not yet, but so yeah, that's what's coming up in PoLo for the March version. We'll start our test releases very soon, and February went out today. Hopefully, with not too many bugs that we'll have to patch. There's always one or two. I'm not perfect, but I hope that you guys enjoy the features. I hope that the template, being able to start an operation with a single click, will be as it's been life-changing for me every time I've used it. I like the features that when you use, they make you smile and feel smarter. I think that's one of those. With that, I don't know. There's a live stream, so there's people in the chat. What are you guys saying? Anything else you want to see? Templates are faster. I still want to see something like if I start a new operation and then change my mind, when I go back, I get this empty operation that I'm not too happy seeing it there. And then when you open it, it no longer has the templates. You can delete it quickly, but I that's something I want to fix. But having the templates here, and I've been meaning to add templates for a long time, and I was dreading having to build all the UI to let you edit the templates and define them and manage them. And then I realized that we had the templates right here all along. It's the things you do. And if you want to do something that's not in one of those lists, then start a new operation and pick the things that's closest to it and modify it. If delete the things that you don't like, and now you have your operation the way you want it. I think that's the easiest way to take advantage of all the activity you've been doing to save you work in the future. And yeah, like especially if you have club templates and something that's more than just entering a call sign, but having to enter call signs, a lot of people in Europe, for example, have to operate with the /B indicator. Now the template will pick that up automatically, so it'll be right there. I don't have to enter it. It's just a couple of key presses, but it lets you go from 0 to QSO in no time at all. So that's I'm really proud of how it came out. I hope that people enjoy it. Now that spring is coming and the weather is turning better, hopefully we'll see more people going out to parks and playing with polo. With that, I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to start wrapping out down this stream. I'm really happy that at least a few people showed up for the chat. I hope to be repeating these every couple of weeks when we have new things to show. And so please subscribe to the channel so you get a notification when we have a new one coming up. And because it'll enable us to also get some YouTube benefits if we get enough subscribers to show that we have a serious channel. So please do hit on that subscribe button over here or over here. I need to practice my pointing. I'm not a true YouTuber yet, but I hope to be one. So subscribe, hit the bell, like, and tell your friends. And thanks for watching. And we'll be hoping to hear you on the air at 73 for Kilo India 2 Delta. And thank you guys for supporting Polo. That was it. That's a stream. Done. Bo asks how many users we have currently. We have over 15,000 downloads, mostly evenly split between iOS and Android. Not all of them are currently active. We have about 4,000 plus users active in the last 30 days, but that's the winter over here. So I expect that to go up dramatically as soon as the weather gets better. 73 guys, and I'll see you around on the Discords, on the air, and hopefully on this stream soon.